Besides Mercy Mission, I suppose another organization that I've been fortunate enough to work with is Viva Palestina Malaysia. Again, completely welcomed me as a non-Muslim because they view the conflict more as a humanitarian crisis. And I remember going to their first meeting. I was very thrilled to go to their first meeting, and we sat down at a table with, like, let's say 20 people. I'm looking around the room, there's doctors, lawyers, businessmen, a lot of powerful people doing positive and good things with their time for no payment on their side. You know, and I feel like that's the kind of thing that inspires me, and I hope that today in this auditorium, I feel like a similar kind of feeling I felt at that meeting, where there's a whole bunch of people gathered together for something positive. And if you agree with that, please put your hands together. I hope you guys leave here today maybe learning something, meeting some people you've never met before, shaking someone's hand, getting to know someone, and just getting something positive from today's event, you know. And so on that note, the piece I'm going to do is for Viva Palestina Malaysia. It's called While We Still Can. And basically it's realizing that no matter how different your opinions may be, maybe not you guys, but in the world, there's going to be a lot of different opinions about the conflict. I think as human beings, at the very least, you cannot deny that the violence needs to come to an end. I'm sure no one can deny it, no matter how different their views may be to yours. And so, again, hopefully, I can reach more people, again, through music, you know? And here's the second piece. It's the checkpoints, the gunshots and roadblocks, when a bomb goes off in a Tel Aviv market, or when another airstrike takes flight to the Gaza Strip and then it hits its target. It's a childhood of violence in the streets where neither side is prepared to retreat. It's the wall in the West Bank and the public protests and a breakdown in the next round of the peace process. Because when a country is refused to be viewed as a legitimate nation, then it makes way for a weapon like an AK-47 to be used as a tool for liberation. It's gone on for too long, it's the bulldozers, the residents of the settlements and the soldiers, the killing and the spilling of blood we've seen over the history of a land and its rightful owner. In the aftermath of every act of aggression, vengeance becomes the only obsession. Since you have taken the life of my father, I will take the life of yours until we both lose sight of exactly what we are fighting for. How many more generations of lives need to be taken on both sides for us to realize that we shed the same tears over the years for the loved ones that are no longer here? And how long will it take for us to be able to say that we refuse to remember our children's children in the same way as something that could have been, if not for this constant conflict that we're living in? Why do we have to accept tragedy as a fact of life? And why do we have to look forward to seeing our families, but only in the afterlife, instead of being able to witness firsthand your own flesh and blood, your own son becoming a man? Let us break this cycle of violence while we still can. I repeat, let us break this cycle of violence while we still can. Thank you very much. I guess you can kind of see what it is I do with my music, and the fact that I'm trying to talk about things that are going on in the world in a certain medium, which, as you know, is hip-hop culture. Even though there are a lot of negative associations with this culture, I'm sure you know all about it from the media. I think it's a very powerful tool for reaching, let's say, people between the ages of 16 and 24, maybe. I'm talking about high school kids, college kids. I feel like for most of the week, people in that age group, they're going to be sitting in a class or a lecture hall at university, just sitting and listening, learning, because that's what that part of your life is for. And I guess it might be hard to reach them, to expect them to sit down again and listen again to something that you have to say. So I think using music, it can be quite a powerful tool, because if they already are interested in that art form, you can try and reach them with, let's say, positive messages instead of negative. So I hope everyone keeps an open mind on that. And let's move on to the next and last last track, which is Wild as the Wind. Again, I was completely overwhelmed to be invited to work with this organization called Orphan Care. They're based in PJ, and their main goal is to stop baby abandonment in Malaysia. Apparently there's about 100 cases that happen every year, and many more go unreported. Babies being thrown in dumpsters, in public bathrooms, in parks, because the mothers or the parents are so scared of what will happen to them because of, let's say, social pressure. Now just think about that for a moment. Like, all you mothers out there, I know that bond you have with a baby that you've carried in your womb for 9 months, it's an incredibly strong bond. There's nothing like it. When I have a child, I won't know anything like that. I'll be the father, but that bond between mother and child is something really epic. So I just want you to think about, like, what makes a girl or a young woman so scared that she has to, like, basically take the life of her own child by throwing it away out of shame, out of fear? What makes a mother do that? She can't have been happy to do that, and I think that's an issue that we can all try to support. And you should check out orphancare.com if you have the time. And so this is a track called Wild as the Wind that I wrote and performed with Norin Aziz, but I'm about to do the a cappella version. So I hope you'll take the time to listen to what I have to say. This is the story of a girl faced with the first stage of pregnancy and childbirth at an early age. It happened when he asked to take the relationship further. She said she wasn't ready, but he never even heard her. If you really love me, then show it by doing this. But she's just too young to even know what love is. She has memories of their first kiss, thought about marriage and suburban bliss, white picket fences, house pets, shopping lists, but in reality, all she's left with is morning sickness and regrets that affects her self-esteem and self-worth, thinking about the pain of childbirth. And like most of the girls her age, she's worried about her figure, putting her hands on her stomach, trying to feel if it's gotten bigger. And these events can never be undone, the story of a young mother and an unborn son. The fear of being alone made her prone to be mistreated. He threatened to leave unless the relationship turned physical. She agreed, afraid to lose it, and it was all too typical how he stopped returning her phone calls as soon as he heard the news that she was pregnant with his child. He left her feeling used. And now the future seems to be so uncertain, with only one person to shoulder this burden. It used to be 2, but now it's 3 lives affected, and it actually happened too fast to be expected. Bringing one life into this world has ruined another, consequently forcing a girl to become a mother, yet another. Baby having a baby with nowhere to run, and a man who can make a child but cannot take care of one. So with no hesitation, he walks away because he can. This is one of the many advantages of being a man. Thank you. My closing line, basically, to the men out there, the younger guys out there, we need to take more responsibility for our actions. I think that goes without saying. How can we sit here basically and just condemn the women outright for the situation that a lot of these young women are in without looking at ourselves as men? I can't speak for the women. I can only speak for the men, and I know guys out there, I'm sure you know certain guys who have a certain idea of women and a certain idea of what, you know, you need to be more responsible, and I hope we can all take something away from that. My name is Shinji. Thank you very much for having me. Thanks.